Today, we often find people change jobs, they change their friends, and to a certain extent, they also go to the freedom of changing their spouses. They never think of changing themselves. Maybe a call to change oneself will help one face the challenges one has in life. Dr. M.N.G. Mani, who is the Secretary General of the International Council for Education for People with Visual Impairment, will now address you on the topic, Facing the Challenges of the Modern World. Over you to sir.
My young friends, who are the architects of the future India, it is always a big challenge to be the last speaker of the session. As I am the last speaker, I want to share with you a small story. People went to Tirupati. You must have heard this story, but I am repeating that. Everybody said, Govinda, Govinda. A humble wife, she said, mine is also the same. She did not say Govinda. Then somebody went asked her, why do you say that? You also have to say Govinda. This humble wife said, see, my husband's name is Govinda. How can I utter the name of my husband? So that is why when everybody is saying, I say mine is also the same. After listening to everybody, Hekadeji, Swamiji's, mine is also the same. Well, friends, I have been asked to speak on the challenges faced by the modern youth. I am a first generation learner from a typical rural village. All speakers talked about the rural youth. I represent the rural youth. I did not have electricity when I was going to school. I studied in the Panchayat Union school. I studied in the government schools. I never, had the even air of the convent schools. But today I am standing in front of you, that is because of the association with the Ramakrishna Mission and assimilation of Swami Vivekananda's ideas to some extent. That is why I am standing in front of you. When you talk about Vivekananda, you have to ask yourself a question. In this country, we are celebrating the Youth Day. We are celebrating all different days. For every day, there are people. In this country, there are celebrities. In this country, there are players, cricketers. Why the Youth Day is named after the name of a sannyasi? You have to think, why the National Youth Day is celebrated in the name of Swami Vivekananda? Because you cannot find a better model than Vivekananda for the modern youth. So if you have the belief in that, Santosh Hekade ji, listening to him is a great pleasure. I am a big fan of him. After listening to his address and after listening to the answers given by him to your questions, if all the students here, you are representing the modern India today, if the change starts from you, India will become one of the greatest countries in the world. As Mahatma Gandhi ji said, let the change start from you. Don't look for change elsewhere. Let the change start from you. If the change has to start from you, you have to follow the Vivekananda way. No other way. You have to follow the Vivekananda way. Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful story. Every youth in the country should know this story. A mother goes to Sri Ramakrishna and says, this world is a very bad world. My child is a very good child. I am afraid that this world is going to contaminate my child. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa did not go to school, but I cannot find an educator better than Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. I cannot find a psychologist better than Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. With his simple stories, he says, bring a glass of water, bring a glass of milk, and 2 glasses, 1 glass of milk and another glass of water, and then he mixes both. And then he is asking the mother, what is this? Is a milk water or water milk? It's neither milk nor water. Then, see, don't, when you mix the water like this, in the raw form, you do not know whether the milk is contaminating water or the water is contaminating milk. So that is why don't mix like that. Make buttermilk out of the milk. Take butter out of the buttermilk. Put that butter in the water, it will not stick. What a beautiful psychology. So that is why cultivate your mind. Cultivate your mind in the Vivekananda way. Swamiji talked about character building, faith. Einstein, the great scientist, somebody asked him, what makes a great scientist? Einstein told, people think that it is the intellect which is making a great scientist. But it is not the intellect. It is the character which is making a great scientist, not the intellect. That is what Swami Vivekananda said. You become that butter, cultivated butter, people with conviction. Swami Ranganathananda Maharaj, the former president of Ramakrishna Mission, says, I address thousands of people. There are thousands of people with opinions. I want a person with conviction. I want a person with conviction because bundles of opinions are of no use. I want one conviction that is better than bundles of opinions. Let the change start from Karnataka. Let the change start from this building today for the nation building. That is the vision of Swami Vivekananda. Sometimes back, I was watching to the TV. I was watching to the TV, a TV show which was participated by 2 politicians for leading political parties of the country. One industrialist and then one economist from abroad. And the anchor was putting a lot of questions. These 2 politicians, everybody bashing at each other. Well, India is projected badly outside. Oh, you are a lot of things happening and people are not believing. Then the industry, the man from the industry, he told, well, if the government is helping, the industry will develop. All of them were bashing at each other, pulling down India. Then the anchor asked this foreign economist, sir, there is a kind of sense of pessimism here. Now, I want to address a question. I want to put a question to you. Do you think that foreigners will be interested in investing in India? I was also listening. Well, I thought if a negative answer comes, I would have been ashamed. But to my surprise, it's a TV show, 2 months back. To my surprise, this foreign economist told, well, there are problems in India, we know, but we will continue to invest in India. Why? Because the long-term growth story of India is intact. What is that long-term growth story? It is not the size of the country. It is not the languages that we speak. The man, the chief economist, meant about the youth of this country. The long-term growth story of this India is the story of the youth of this country. My young friends, last Monday, a report came. It was published in all newspapers, aired in TV channels. What is that report? A report of the National Intelligence Council of which country? Not India. The National Intelligence Council of the United States. They submitted a report. In that report it says, if we say that, people will say that we are boasting India. When the report is coming from US, it says that by 2030, India is a country, a power to reckon with. Why? Because the youth, today, the median age of Indian youth is 26 years. By 2030, the median age of Indian youth is going to be 32 years. It says it is going to overtake China. In 2030, the workforce in China, by 2016, it is going to peak. After 2015, the workforce in China is going to come down. The report says, even by 2050, it is unlikely that the workforce of India is likely to come down. So that means, the future doesn't belong to any other country in the world. The future belongs to India. Have faith in that. Have faith in that. Do you have that conviction to walk from this hall that the future belongs to India? I believe. I am not a youth at this stage. I want to live. When I told my son, I want to live for another 50 years. Why? He asked me, why, Papa, you want to live for another 50 years? I said, I lived in the developing world. I lived in the developing India. After 30 years, India is going to be a developed India. I want to live in the developed India. You are the luckiest people to live in the developed India. So young friends, go in the Vivekananda way. Today, when you talk about the challenges of the modern youth, I will just list some of them and finish. Swami Vivekananda's ideas are followed all over the world. I tell you, every youth, you have to study a book by UNESCO on education for 21st century. The title of the book is so beautiful, and they have simply copied the idea of Swami Vivekananda without mentioning Vivekananda. I was just reading the title of the book. I said, this is our Swamiji's title. What is the title of the book? Education for 21st century. Learning the treasure within. Learning the treasure within. Our Swami told, education is the manifestation of perfection already in man. I am very happy. Even without acknowledging, they have taken the idea of Swami Vivekananda. And again, when they talk about the 4 pillars of education, they say it is nothing but the idea of Swami Vivekananda. The first one, it says, the first pillar of education. My young friends, you are all studying in the college, and you try to see whether you are fulfilling the pillars of education. The first pillar of education, learning to know. Whatever you learn, try to go to the depth of it. Don't learn at the surface level. Again, if you go back to Swami Vivekananda, he says, education is not the amount of information put into your brain, runs riot all there, undigested all your life. If you have assimilated 5 ideas and made them your life and character, you have more education than a person who has got by heart a whole library. What a powerful statement of Swami Vivekananda. Learning to know, go to the depth of it. Indian students are able to do that. The second, pillar, learning to do. Swami Vivekananda always thought of, practical education. It is not theory education, practical education. You have to be practical. In a conference like this, an industrialist, illiterate industrialist, he was addressing highly educated people. At the end of the conference, at the end of the session, somebody asked, sir, we are all double PhD, we are all triple MS, we are all highly educated people, but you are not educated, but you are making such a wonderful contribution through the industry. What is the secret? Then it simply told, the only secret is, you people have developed your brain, whereas I have used my brain. So you people have developed your brain, whereas I have used my brain. Become practical. Learning to do, that is another very important thing. The third pillar, you have to address is learning to live together. Learning to live together. Today, we have to teach. During my days, there was no need to teach to live together. Recently, in the lighter sense, I was just I was in a marriage function. In the marriage function, the bridegroom goes for Kashi Yatra. And everybody goes behind him. No, you don't go to Kashi Yatra. I will give my girl, you marry, I will give my property. They go and bring him back. I was telling my neighbor, thank God, in my community, we don't have Kashi Yatra. He asked me why. If we had Kashi Yatra, if I wanted to go to Kashi, my father would have told me, go. Because we are 6 in the family. If you go, there are 5 children in the family. There is no loss to the family. Why I am telling learning to live together was an inborn value in us. Today, learning to live together, is to be taught in the school. For example, even in our teams, India, the China difference, if you see, in India, the individual excellence is very good. In China, the team excellence is very good. Which one is winning? So that is why learning to live together. Today, even if you go to big companies, they will not give you a job. They want to know how you are a team player. So the value of living together in the large family, it was there. But today, it is missing. That is another challenge. The final pillar is learning to be. From the morning, everybody is talking about human being. We have to ask, nobody is talking about being human. Santosh ji mentioned, Hegde ji mentioned that. Being human. Human being is one thing. You reverse that, being human. That makes a lot of difference. Swami Vivekananda told, among all isms, the biggest ism is the humanism. So, learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, and learning to be. And then again, I want to go back to this book. It lists a number of challenges modern day youth has to face. Number one is the conflict between global and local. On the one hand, we want to become global citizens. On the other hand, we don't want to lose the roots. This is one conflict modern youth should undergo. And the second conflict is universal versus individual. The third conflict is modernity versus tradition. And the fourth conflict is the competition and the equality of opportunity. On the one hand, we are talking about competition. On the other hand, we have to talk about equality of opportunity. This is a challenge faced by the modern youth. Another very important thing is your conflict between the long-term objectives and the short-term goals. All of us want quick fix solutions. Today, the children, they don't want. See, I took voluntary retirement to join my current position. One day I was telling my son, he was 7th standard when I joined this position a couple of years back. He asked me, what have you done? I said, I've taken voluntary retirement. What is voluntary retirement? I told her, well, tomorrow I was working as a principal of the college. I told him, I need not have to go to the college from tomorrow. That means, are you going to work? Yes, I'm going to work, but at my time. I need not have to go to college from 9 to 5, but I will work like I was working before. After listening to me, this young child was asking, Papa, I have a question. Is there any voluntary retirement for students? Well, quick fix solutions. We want a quick fix. We want short-term objectives. Today, I'm conducting a number of leadership training program for the students of the schools. I ask them, what is your objective in education? They say, sir, my objective is, as soon as I finish my engineering, I have to join an IT company and earn 40,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees. Their objective is fixed before. So, your conflict between long-term objectives and short-term goals, that is another big challenge. And another important challenge is the expansion of technology and capacity to assimilate it. On the one hand, the technology is expanding. On the other hand, your capacity to assimilate. And finally, the spirituality, materialism challenge. So my friends, these are the challenges young people should face in the world. If you have to tackle the challenges, you have to go the Vivekananda way. What is Vivekananda way? I will list a couple of things and close. Number one, faith. Swamiji already mentioned. Faith in yourself and faith in God. The second one is character building. Character building is absolutely important, like what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said. The third thing is make concentration. Swamiji told, if I have a rebirth, I will want only one thing, nothing else. I will want only concentration. Make concentration as the bedrock of education. Concentration should be the bedrock of education. Your concentration for a few minutes, you will be able to conquer everything. Don't allow your mind to, go everywhere. And another thing, make spirituality as the bedrock of development. Today, we have development, but there is no spirituality involved. I was evaluating a book, a mathematics book, because I'm basically a mathematics graduate. I was looking at a book. There is a beautiful problem. The problem goes like this. Suppose you are purchasing 5 liters of milk, mix it with 1 liter and supply it to 6 people, how much each will get? As a mathematical problem, it is okay, right? But it is not ethical. You are teaching the student, those people who are writing mathematics book, they did not think of it. You are buying 5 liters of milk, mixing it with 1 liter of water. So the student should not get a feeling that, he can mix it with 1 liter of water. So even, that is why you apply the spirituality, whether it is writing a book or, speaking or doing things. So that is why spirituality should become the bedrock of development. And one more thing, make devotion to duty as the highest form of worship of God. Swami Vivekananda said, work is worship. Devotion to duty is the highest form of worship of God. So if all of us think that working, for the country is our devotion, India will become great. My young friends, finally, every one of you may be wondering, to what extent, as an individual, I can make a difference. All individuals make a difference. The country will become great. I will close with a small story given by an elderly person. An elderly person was walking in the beaches of, the Chennai or Mangalore. What he was doing, he was taking, the starfishes. The young, small starfishes, they die when the sunlight comes. So he was taking one fish after another, throwing them to the sea. There was a young boy who came, looked at him and asked him, "Grandpa, what is that you are doing?" He told, "Look at my son. The sun will come in another 10 minutes. When the sun comes, all these little starfishes will die. I am throwing them into the sea." Then he asked, "There are millions of fishes. The sun is going to come in 10 minutes. Are you going to save every fish?" Then the grand old man told, "I know that, young man. I know that I am not going to make an impact on all the fishes. But look at me. You took one fish, threw it to the sea, and told, I make a difference to this fish. If you want to make a difference, today everybody is running in the sea, the seashore. Everyone follow. You bring all people, come together and start throwing these starfishes which are going to die one by one back to the sea. Then millions of fishes will be saved." So then it became a network. Every day, thousands of people came and they started throwing the starfish to the sea. Before the sun came, a big network was formed and thousands of people, the fishes were saved. The analogy is, when people like you come together, each one of you take the message of Swami Vivekananda. Look at the challenges of universal versus individual, global versus local, tradition versus modernity, short-term objectives versus long-term objectives, spirituality versus materialism, expansion of knowledge, capacity to assimilate it. Look at all the problems which Hegadeji pointed out. If each one of you allow this change to happen from you, you can save millions and millions of starfishes, the millions and millions of people of this country, and change them and take them in the right path. So let the change start from this place. I thank Swamiji for giving me this splendid opportunity to meet the future architects of this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. As the saying goes, little drops of water make a mighty ocean. So also, little deeds of kindness will definitely change the society for all of us.